The content of this podcast is for informational and entertainment purposes only. It is not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the guidance of your healthcare provider with any questions you may have regarding your mental or physical health. The views expressed are those of the host and guests and do not replace personalized care from a licensed professional.
Welcome to Mindful Moments with Pedro Morante, a space where a nurse practitioner and educator shares real talk on mental wellness, mindfulness, and navigating life in and out of healthcare. Let's take a moment to breathe, reflect, and grow together.
Very important, guys, to start slow, go steady. No, it's not a fast race. We're all in this together.
There's a lot of anxiety, depression, and PTSD going on. So just need to make sure that our message as a provider is heard by our minority patients. Making sure that we are here for you.
Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for all those tuning in to our podcast, Mindful Moments with Pedro Morante. I have a very special guest for today, and our episode title is Crossing Oceans, Rebuilding Self. Kim Delos Santos is a former actress in the Philippines who crossed oceans after heartbreak, navigated body image and loss, and is now a thriving psychiatric mental health nurse practitioner in the United States. So allow me to welcome her, Miss Kim Delos Santos. Woohoo!
Hi, thank you so much, Peter, for having me.
Thank you for allowing me to do this with you. I know you have a busy schedule and it's the holidays. So if you want to greet our followers, happy holidays.
Merry Christmas sa inyo lahat. Happy New Year. Sana yung bagong taon natin maging sobrang successful, di ba?
Yes, we're so much looking forward po for 2026. Parang ang
26.
bilis ng panahon, no? Parang
I
kailan lang,
know.
parang kailan lang pinapanood lang po kita sa TV or nasa notebook ka namin. Kayong dalawa ni Ate
I
Aiza
know.
Marquez.
Oo. Yeah, that's it. Sometimes it feels like ages ago, no?
Yeah,
Napagkalata
but
na
you never
matanda.
age. Parehas pa rin po yung mukha nyo.
Thank you, thank
Yeah.
you.
For this platform that I'm creating, we focus on mental health, but also our audience would like to get to know you also. I
Mhm.
know that you entered Philippine showbiz with a lot of eyes on you. People knew your name, your face, and your image. What was it like carrying that kind of attention?
Nung time na yan, kasi you were still young, so there was a lot of pressure. Siyempre, yung you were always looked up. Uh, Parang lahat ng ginagawa mo pinapansin. Yun yung isang mahirap doon. So like everything you did, parang may side comment, you were pressured in many ways. Parang at the same time, syempre, when you have that much fame at an early age, tapos you make a lot of money, madaling makalaki ng ulo. Like the fame would go to your head. I think sometimes that's what happens here din sa mga Disney Channel stars.
Oh.
They have so much pressure on them on being perfect or being like a role model or being like this. And then after that, they don't know how to cope with it because it happens so fast. And then you're making money at such an early age na parang it's a lot of pressure and it's a big world na para for like a tiny little person to actually be in. So, tendency may mga sometimes that you feel like you're on top of the world or you're invisible. May mga ganun feeling yan eh. Parang you had to be somebody. Well, you were pressured to be a role model. Nung time na yun, hindi pa ako ready. You're pressured and you just want to be a kid. But yet, it was taken away from you because I started out so early. So wala rin ako masyadong childhood. I was nasa taping na agad, so I wasn't able to play with friends or I wasn't able to go out and hang out with just, be a kid.
So does it come to a point that when you look back now, how did that level of visibility shape your sense of identity? And how did it affect how safe or unsafe it felt to be truly yourself?
Looking back, I don't regret it, don't get me wrong, ano, but then I wish I did things differently. Parang syempre now looking back, now I know why I like childish things. Like Kuromi,
Mhm.
gusto ko siya. So
Okay.
parang I'm living my childhood a
I
little
think
bit
that
lang
is
naman.
your inner child is
Child,
trying to heal
it comes
and
out.
trying
Yeah.
to navigate those suppression.
The suppression when I was a kid. Yeah, kasi ang bilis kong
Absolutely.
tumanda eh. So right now, I still have my inner child, which I'm enjoying. And at the same time, it still makes me look young kasi isip bata pa.
Uh,
Like a young soul.
That's good, po. And it's really good that you're trying to heal your inner child. That's basically, especially working at a really young age. I think I was able to interview Billy Joe Crawford too
Mm-hmm.
recently. So I think both of you work at That's Entertainment. So parehas po kayo ng trajectory. Like
The
how was it being a child star? Actually, you guys were a superstar because you guys were visible both for TV, movies.
Actually, Billy Joe, I had my first guesting sa Jemmy Super Show was with Billy Joe. It was
Great.
me, Sunshine Dizon, and Billy Joe. Hmm.
That's great. What is it with acting that draws you to it?
It's fun. It's like you can be a different character and you can play roles na parang you get to live in a different world. Parang fantasy world. Kaya nga sabi ko, every time I go home to the Philippines, it's like I'm in a fantasy island. I'm a whole different, completely different person. And then when I come here to the US, I'm just me, Kim. You know, parang may ganun siya. Na parang it's your inner self, your yung dreams, you're able to do it when you're acting.
Great. And you were privileged to at least work with great actors and actors back then too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. And then looking back also, when you were doing acting and entertainment industry, did you ever sense that you were losing your Kim Delos Santos? Like, how do you separated your real identity from the characters that you have played? Because I know you did a lot of like remarkable projects for Anna Karenina, TGIS, Rosenda when you were a kid. So looking back to those projects, what were your highest points and lowest points that you were encountering when portraying those characters?
Actually, at that time, it was like I was just playing. Hindi ko siya iniisip na parang masyadong siniseryoso. Ini-enjoy ko lang siya.
Mhm.
But the pressure um, of needing to be a role model or a certain way, yun lang ang nakaka-pressure doon. So parang my love for it started fading away kasi nagiging pressure na siya eh. I was doing it
Mhm.
for the money because I needed the money. Kasi no
Mhm.
time na yan, naglayas ako eh, mag-isa lang ako.
Mhm.
So whatever money I made, I was paying for my own school and everything like that. So mabilis akong nag-mature. Yung parang role ng, someone older. Ako na nag-portray sa sarili ko. So then na-burn out ako.
And then when you feel that burnout, did you ever felt that okay, this is time for me to quit what I'm doing and then do something else?
No.
Mhm.
I thought that the solution was getting married.
Mhm.
Na in love ako. So I thought that maybe things would change kasi may kasama na ako. No, it's not a solution to get married and to think that, kasi pag bata ka, iniisip mo lahat kaya mo na eh. You
Okay.
know, like you can handle big problems, since I'm making my own money, I'm doing this, and then na in love, tapos na heartbroken. But acting wise, the I loved acting. I really
Mhm.
did. I loved it. I couldn't handle the pressure of what comes along with it. The chismes,
Mhm.
the pag yung I started gaining weight. Actually, my depression started was because I found out my ex had kids.
Mhm.
But we were ready together when I found out. So that started the whole depression thing.
Thank you for sharing your story about it. And we kind of like gonna talk about it too. on heartbreak and leaving home. So pag-usapan po
Mhm.
natin to. You moved here in the US, came after a heartbreak. Was living a way of running or a way of surviving? And what did that heartbreak take from you?
I think both. Because sometimes yung my relationship and how it ended dun sa ex ko was not nice. It became physical. And na-inlove siya sa iba. So if I stayed, the relationship wouldn't be good. No? And then second, I was by myself in the Philippines. My whole family was here. Although I do have friends there, but syempre iba pa rin yun. I needed my family with me. But when I got here, I think as a woman, the lowest point of your life is physical abuse.
Mhm.
It takes away it belittles you. It makes you think low of yourself.
Mhm.
Sorry.
No,
I
no worries.
guess so I had to, yun nga, I became depressed. I gained the weight. And then I had to start from the lowest point. But syempre, I wasn't educated. So it was hard. Um, it was hard. And I guess siguro medyo touchy lang siya ngayon kasi I think with my mom na rin, no?
Mhm.
But for women that experience that, they know that iba kasi nawawalan ka ng dignidad
Mm.
pag sinaktan ka. But then after that, when I look back at it and then I try to, you change your perception of things. Naghirap ka. It doesn't make you build yourself up.
Mm.
And then that point, I changed it in the sense of saying we were both kids. It was a spur of the moment. It doesn't define him na ganun talaga siya. Siguro nagalit na bigla. Everybody has those, I call that a snap moment.
Mm.
You know how some people snap when they have bottled up emotions, right? So I think of it like that when I think about him. And I guess it was one of those moments where he snapped. So naging physical. But for a woman, it becomes the lowest point. And then for me to let go of everything and then to start all over again, I had to rebuild myself. I didn't understand it until I started studying nursing. And that's why I started studying psych. Because sometimes, minsan pa nag-artista ka rin, you have like those mixed emotions and then you think you're bipolar.
Mhm.
Yung mood swings mo ba? And then I started studying and I was like, okay, I don't reach all the I don't have all the symptoms. I can't generalize. It's like always like borderline or something like that. So when I was looking at it, I was like, okay, now I understand it. So now how am I going to fix it? So part of me studying nursing, well, aside from my dad always getting sick, and I didn't like the feeling na parang I didn't know what to do to help my dad.
Mm.
At the same time, I was learning about health and mental health. And that's how I knew that I was depressed pala ako nun, kaya pala ako tumataba. Yung mga symptoms pala na you keep sleeping and you just want to sleep and you just keep eating, mechanisms pala siya ng depression na I didn't know because hindi naman tinuturo sa atin sa Pilipinas ang depression. They really,
Mm.
we are really resilient people. So it's not like they really pay attention to those things, We always bounce back and it was like, hindi, bahala na si Lord. Yung may ganun tayong
Mhm.
that's the way we think. But apparently, when I moved here and I was going through everything and I was looking at myself and then now I'm starting all over, I don't even know where I'm starting from. Yung mga ganun ba? But then slowly I started building myself up and saying, thank God na lang malakas ang faith ko. I wouldn't be able to do it without God. Mahihirapan talaga ako. So it was through my prayers and always, asking God for guidance on what I should do. Even in my nursing career, bago ko pumasa, nagdasal pa ako kay Lord,
Mm.
you know? So it was more on survival and running away and then also rediscovering myself as Kim, hindi na artista. I got to meet me, like who I am as a person, and then I started building myself. And then it's like life is like a trial and error. You have lessons all the time. If you learn to look at the lessons and what's being taught to you, kasi si Lord bibigyan ka ng mga trial para matuto ka. Pag matigas ang ulo mo, paulit-ulit niyang ibibigay sa iyo yung same trial hanggang sa matuto ka. You know? So when I was gaining the weight and I was feeling bad about myself and all that stuff like that, one day it just hit me and I said, you know what? You're doing this to yourself. You need to change. Nasa sa'yo yan. Sabi niya, no one's gonna help you. So that's when I started asking for help.
Okay.
You recognize what the problem is and then you start fixing it.
Thank you for those coping skills, and I really like na in-emphasize niyo po yung faith and basically to bounce back. Because we know
Mm-hmm.
back home in the Philippines, we don't talk about depression. Oh, depressed ka, labas lang tayo. Parang ganun, wala yan. Di ba?
Mm-mm. Inom
Marinig
lang
po
tayo,
tayo.
mga ganon.
Yeah.
Yun. Mm-mm.
So it's good that we're also slowly having a mental health awareness, especially with our community. And also, you're one of the example na really we have to pay attention to our mental health because it can really affect how we feel and how we behave and how we see ourselves in the mirror.
Yes.
Now, did you ever come to a point that you were asking yourself, why wasn't I enough? Or what did this relationship not have the capacity to hold at that time?
Actually, perception ko na lang doon at that point in time was na-inlove siya sa iba.
Hmm.
And sometimes nangyayari yun is because hindi kayo para sa isa't isa. Yun yung sinasabi kong binibigyan ka ni Lord ng lesson para matuto ka. And I guess he knew I was not happy in the relationship. And there was no way I was going to leave Dino because I was so in love with him. So the only way to get me away from him was what happened our last fight. Because siguro he knew I wasn't able to tolerate something like that. So that's what really caused me to make the change.
And that's very important that you stand your grounds and sinabi mo siguro this is enough and this is something that is not sitting with my values and boundaries, which you stood up for yourself.
Self-love.
So
And until like now, when I made the decision to lose the weight, I started recognizing self-love and learning boundaries. Even with the people that you love, sometimes you need to say no. Kasi minsan tendency din natin because we grow up in the Philippines na pinalaki tayo na tulong dito, tulong doon, tulong dito, tulong doon. But sometimes you're depleting yourself
mm,
while you keep on helping. Helping is fine as long as it's healthy for you as well. May limitations. I'm learning limitations. It's not bad. It's a healthy boundary in order for you to feel whole. Kasi minsan pag yes ka ng yes, nadideplete mo sarili mo, napapabayaan mong sarili mo Pero yung ibang tao, okay, I don't mean to sound mean, but
mm.
it's something that I think sometimes we need to practice. Na minsan kailangan mong alagaan din ang sarili mo. And that's what I'm learning.
Yes, I think everybody can relate with that. Sometimes nauubos din tayo and then it comes to a point na dapat magtira ka din sa sarili mo.
Yun. Madali siyang sabihin noon na laging pinapangaral sa atin pero hindi mo maintindihan hanggat sa hindi mo nailagay yung sarili mo sa ganung sitwasyon. Kasi alam ko marami rin ako kaibigan na sobra talagang kahit walang-wala na sila. Pagmamahal nila sa pamilya nila, sige bigay ng bigay. Kaya lang, kawawa naman. Kasi pagtanda mo, sino din mag-aalaga din sa'yo?
Mm.
You need to save some for yourself kasi lahat ibibigay mo. Pagtanda mo, ikaw lang or like for your kids, you're, dapat may balance in short is what I'm trying to say.
Also being seen versus being chosen. So, a lot of our patients will perceive na kapag hindi ka pinili, hindi ka na valuable. And sometimes our brain interprets this as rejection and as social pain activating the same circuits as physical pain. What will be your advice for those who are experiencing the same situation that you have experienced in the past?
Rejection is protection from God. I think that if a person rejects you, it has nothing to do with you. Minsan, ano yan? Yun nga yung tulad nga ng sabi ko, him doing that to me was God's way of getting me away from him. So, pag rineject ka ng tao, it's not because there's something wrong with you, it's your protection. Protection mo yon sa sarili mo na hindi siya para sa'yo. Tapos, mahalin mo ang sarili mo. Have your own standards, your own beliefs, your own well-being. Kasi pag buo ka sa sarili mo, mataas you would want somebody that would be just as giving or yung mahal din ang sarili. It will change things. Yung sabihin mong hindi ka pinili at yung mga social things na yan, those are signs of insecurities.
When everything familiar disappears, career, relationships, and your routine, how did your mind and body respond to it?
At first, yun nga, I went into depression. It's the initial response because you're diving into something unfamiliar. But later on, you need to learn how to change your perspective of things. This is a new life that you can start all over again. Now you can be you. You can build yourself up. I started from the bottom, from mopping floors. Then after that, from, being a receptionist, stuffing stuff inside. It's about you learning and going through the hardship so that later on, when you reach that point where you achieve where you want to be, you'll be like, oh my God, I started, God made me humble. Hinumble ka ni Lord kasi, yun nga tulad nga sabi ko noon, medyo lumaki po ang ulo ko. But at the same time, He did that to make me become a better character or a better person. And then at that way, if by chance I can share my story to other people and they can relate to me, hopefully I can give them hope na kaya niyo yan. Basta magtiwala lang kay Lord. Tapos, I was talking to my sister yesterday, and it's kind of amazing how science now is actually putting in faith and spirituality alongside, where they're checking that people that actually do pray become a lot more calmer. They do studies on it now, which is something that Filipinos are well trained on. And that's how we build our resilience. That yung faith na yan, having something to believe in, can also be a coping mechanism.
And I agree with you. Filipinos are known to be resilient, and any trials, we always are very hopeful that there's solutions to it.
Kasi may faith tayo. And we always try to look at the brighter side of life, which is what actually helped me after I went off my self-pity. Kaya hindi ako masyadong fan ng self-pity. Kasi when you start building up self-pity, it just puts you in a stagnant position. You won't grow because it closes your mindset. Kasi hanggat may buhay ka, may pag-asang magbago. You can change where you're at as long as you have the willpower to. But if you put yourself in self-pity mode, kawawa, or you try to justify na ito lang ang kaya ko, then you're just limiting yourself. But if you hope and then start that every day, like there's something called neuroplasticity, where you change the way your mind thinks. And that happens by, they call it meditation, no? Some people, we call it prayer, right? Prayer, meditation, it depends on what you believe in. But when you have your little quiet time and then you start thinking, and then you start, being thankful for small things, that's how your brain rewires. Then when you start thinking those positive things, all of a sudden, lahat ng mga magagandang nangyayari, you start noticing it more. So you can actually train your brain to change its way of thinking. And then when you change your perspective on things, I also learned how to practice, which has always been my habit though, Sometimes people only focus on what they feel. If you start also thinking about what made that person do that or what, then you'll start understanding things a lot more. Intindihin mo din yung ibang tao kung bakit yun nagawa yun. Tapos, bigla mo may isip, oh nga naman, may point din siya.
Mm.
So then when you start changing the way you think of things and you also try to look at other people's perspectives, you will start changing. Mas mag-broaden yung way of thinking mo, which is it's what I'm learning and what I've been practicing lately. So sabi ko, tungtuwa nga ako sa psyche. Sabi ko, it's very interesting.
Yes, and you are a psych mental health nurse practitioner right now. I think
Yes.
you can serve a lot of people and patients out there because you have yourself like a first-hand experience on how you cope with it, and you can definitely inspire them on how to do it.
I think what got me into it is because I can relate.
Mm.
Anxiety, everybody has it. Anxiety, depression, insecurities, we all have it. But then if you start noticing what's good about yourself and then you start being comfortable in your own skin, because everybody has good points.
Mhm.
The physical features that fades, but your heart and the way that you treat people, that is different. It's really different. Iba yan. And you believing in God or di man sa pagtitiwala sa Diyos, just being a good person,
Mhm.
it brings out a different glow in you. And it has nothing to do with your physical features. Mapapansin ng tao yung the way you handle yourself, the way you treat people, lahat yun, those are your good points. So if you have that, that would make you chosen by other people. Dun sa isang, sorry, nabigla ko na ano yung, for ano, when you build yourself up, it's different.
And I strongly believe with you, like always choosing kindness every day and also practicing self gratitude and also making sure that we have a lot of things to be thankful for and how faith can change our mindset and also practicing mindfulness. Those are
Yes.
important things to combat those stress, anxiety, depression.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's talk about body image and self worth. Body
Mm-hmm.
image struggles are often unspoken, especially in entertainment industries built on appearance. What were the quiet thoughts you carried about your body, and how did they intersect with pressure, comparison, or loss?
This is going to sound kind of mean, no?
Mm.
But overweight and stuff like that, as touche as it sounds, it has a big factor in your mentality about yourself.
Mm.
Being healthy and weight loss helps build your morale.
Mm.
As touche as it is, it does have a big effect on you when you lose the weight. Kasi when you're pudgy, although you're good-hearted, may kulang pa rin para sa sarili mo, di ba? Aside from that, yung health mo, which is more important. Me, I was happy, but yet, I mean, it didn't bother me because I was fat na feeling ko pangit ako, no? Kasi
Mm.
deep down, I knew I had a good heart.
Mm.
But me, it was the health-wise. My A1C was already 11.
Mm.
I have a family history of diabetes. And I was like, I don't want to get sick and I don't want to die. It comes together. So when you do that, and when you start changing your habits, your eating habits and everything like that, and you start looking like what is the reason why you want to lose weight? If it's just for just to look pretty, it you're not going to lose weight. Kasi kakain ka pa rin kakain yan eh. But if you have a more meaningful reason to it, I think that's what pushed me. I didn't want to become diabetic yet, and I didn't
Mhm.
want the whole illnesses that come along with it. And I said, Kim, you need to change. And because matigas ang ulo ko, you need to know also your limitations. I said, hirap talaga akong maiwasan ang pagkain. So what can I do next? I asked for medical help,
Mm.
gastric sleeve. No shame in saying it. The reason why I have no shame in saying it is because I know a lot of people are struggling to lose weight, and in the Philippines is still not yet prepared for those things. But here in America, we have that as a benefit, as a part of the insurance in order to prevent more illnesses.
Mhm.
So, I knew my limits and I know matigas ang ulo ko. So, naghanap ako ng solusyon ko. Nagpa-gastric sleeve ako, so I have no choice. I cannot eat. Once I did that and I made the decision, nawala lahat ng sakit. I am no longer pre-diabetic, no more blood pressure, everything's fine. So it was really my health that pushed me to lose the weight because I knew what was going to happen next because I come from a line of diabetics and my whole family is like a walking time bomb. Meron na kami cancer, alam mo yung mga, and I know. So I had to change myself. So yung health mo ang number one. Kasi baduy, health is wealth.
Yeah. And there's no true wealth when there's no alignment with our mental health too. So they go together. Like
It works together. Kasi if you feel healthy, your mind will be healthy too. The thoughts that you put in your head are the most important ones. Yung kung ano ang pag-iisip mo, yun, lahat yun. Kasi if you stress yourself out too much, you'll get sick. Too much stress, you'll start getting those diabetic, high blood pressure, all those things. So it's important to live a balanced life na you also have fun. Dito kasi sa America, one of our problems here is that we get so caught up with bills and working and making money and, helping our family members, if they need help, stuff like that. Now, nakakalimutan natin yung sarili natin to enjoy.
Mm.
Kailangan mo maghanap ng outlet pa rin. What makes you happy, do it. As long as it's fun, happy. Healthy, happy. Not happy that would also put you in also a non-healthy way.
yes, like resulting to alcohol or
Yes, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
If your happiness if you're going to say that my coping mechanism is alcohol, you will end up also in another state of unhealthiness. There's something called clean fun. Find what works for you aside from the ones that are just chemically induced.
Thank you for that. And from a mental health lens, the body often holds what the heart cannot process. Looking back, how do you feel your body carried the weight of heartbreak, grief, or chronic stress?
I went into depression. I gained the weight. I really did. And it wasn't until I started did nursing that I started understanding what was going on with me. And then I saw the diseases that can happen to me that woke my eyes up and I said, okay, I don't want to chop this off. I don't want to have gangrene. I don't want to go through those things. So I had to make the change for myself to be healthy. And then hopefully my story can help other people see it the same way.
Thank you. And on moving on and living forward, there's often a moment when survival shifts into intentional living. When did you realize, Miss Kim, that it was time to release who you had been, and what have helped you grieve that version of yourself with compassion?
I was with my fiance. We broke up. Another one. This is not my ex-husband. I was in a relationship for 11 years. When I let the relationship go, I had to self-reflect. That's when I found out that my A1C was high and all this stuff like this. And I think yung comfort, I was comfortable with him, but then I wasn't really looking at me and okay lang, I wasn't really. Then when we broke up, I was stuck with myself. So then that's when you start doing self-reflection. So I learned to love myself when I isolated myself. Some people are so scared of being alone, but it's actually one of the best things that you can actually go through. It strengthens your relationship with God. It strengthens yourself of knowing oneself. Because then you'll start reflecting, what did I do wrong? This is where metacognition comes in. You think about the way you think, and you also try to analyze, what can I do better? It starts from within. Okay, I broke up, I'm this big, my health is going. What am I going to do? Is your first question. I need to lose the weight. What are my options? Here in America, we're given these options. Okay, I can do this. Okay, I'll take the first step. So during your self-reflection, when you try to listen to yourself and listen to pray and ask God and listen to also how you feel and how you want to be. I learned something where you imagine yourself. You picture yourself as who should Kim, what type of person do I want to be? I know I have a good heart. Okay, you have a good heart. What can you do? I can start charity events. I can help people. Then you ask friends, what can we do? Can you help me do this? You see, like when you picture yourself or you imagine how you want to be, what type of person you want to be, what legacy do you want to leave when the time comes? How do you want to be remembered? When you ask those questions, you'll be surprised at what you start answering. And then the next thing you do, you write it down. And then write down your dreams. This is how, during my singleness, na I've been alone, this is what I've been doing. And then I've been practicing it. And then if I say, okay, I want to do this, and then I do it, and then I check it off. Okay, I did the charity event. It feels good.
Yeah.
It helps my soul. And then I'm God, I did something good. Alam mo yung ganon? That's why I said self-reflection, reflect on yourself. And then later on, you'll start changing as a person. And then while you start changing and you start building your confidence and you start embodying the person that you want to be, nagbabago lahat. Everything around you changes. But it all starts from within. And then later on, sometimes you'll outgrow some people, some of your friends, because they're the ones that, bring you to the different route. You don't want to be that route no more. You don't want to be there no more. You have to let them go. Kasi you're changing, you're evolving. Hanggat may buhay, pwede ka magbago. And it's up to you. And even though there are a lot of old people that started their dreams at an old time, and yet they still achieved it. Diba?
Yeah.
So parang yun ang nangyari sa akin during my isolations. Those are things that I learned and I started practicing.
Yeah, your self-discovery, and also you went into nursing. I know that.
Yeah.
Nursing is a quieter calling than showbiz, right? Less applause, more presence. What drew you toward nursing, and when did it stop feeling like a temporary chapter and start feeling like a home?
When I came here, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I had no education or anything. And then I remember when I was 5 years old, before we went to the Philippines and everything changed, I told my dad when I was young, because my dad worked in the hospital as an engineer. And he was so amused by the nurses, always nurses. Filipino are always nurses. So I said to him, Daddy, mag-nurse ako. Sabi niya, sigurado ka? Nung una culinary, trinay ko, hindi ko talaga kinaya. Tinitingnan ako, kala nila I was gonna chop off my fingers along with the, hindi talaga. So, one day, I took the exam. I failed the first time I took a nursing exam, the entrance exam. I failed it. Kasi may memory test sila. That was the main thing that you needed to pass. If you failed the memory test, bagsak ka. But the memory test was like, they'll give you 10 words, 20 words in the beginning. Then after that, after two tests that you take, they'll start calling in the words again. So that's after two tests na na-stress ka. Ang hirap nun. But then I found out some of my friends wrote down the answers in the scrap paper that they give. But then, anyway, so I failed. Nasad na naman ako. Sabi ko, ano ba to? And then I tried it again, LVN.
Okay.
I was trying for RN first, and then I tried LVN. So sabi ko, LVN nga, I passed the test. Pumasa ako. Sabi ko, uy, okay to ah. Sabi ko, pumasa ako. Sabi ko, baka gusto ni Lord mag-LVN muna ako kasi baka mamaya hindi ko magustuhan. Alam mo yun, parang start at the lower position first. Make sure you like it. So I called up my dad and I said, Daddy, pumasa ako. Oh, nagulat siya, tungtuwa siya, proud na proud siya. So sabi niya, kaya lang may problema. Hindi ko kaya yung tuition fee. My dad my dad put me through school. For the first time, I asked my dad for help. And I said, Dad, sabi niya, mag-aaral ka ba? Tatapos mo to? Yes. Nag-graduate talaga ako, may honors ang lola mo. Di ba? Ang bait na bata. Kasi
Yeah.
daddy ko nagpaaral sa akin. Pagkatapos nun, hindi ko na masyadong iniintindi. Kasi walang magagalit na sa akin eh. At ako nga ako, pati yung first test ko. Ay ko, Daddy, wala ka pong bayad ng test. Kasi hindi na ako ano lang ako, nag-straight study lang ako. Tapos of
Mhm.
course, I had my fiance, right?
Mhm.
So he was taking care of me. But then, yung first test ko, sabi ng daddy ko, pag bumagsak ka, hindi ko babayaran yung susunod. Ano yung typical Filipino na
Ah,
pahirapan? Kailangan magpasaya. Sabi ko, pinasa ko talaga siya. Tawa ko na tawa sa sarili ko. But yeah, my dad would pay for my car. Tapos mag-overtime siya. But he was so proud to say, I'm putting my daughter through nursing school. So,
mhm.
but mind you, I was old. I was 28 na noon when he was telling them this. Pero yung proud ba siya? So, nakakaiba.
And naka-accomplish. I know you're a daddy's girl. Right?
I am. I
Yeah.
am. I am a daddy's girl. Although, syempre, love ko mami ko.
Mm.
But then, daddy's girl talaga.
Yeah. I think it explains also with psychology, like the mga girls attached to dad and
Dad.
then son attached to mom. I'm
Mm-hmm.
also mama's boy.
Well, my brother's a mama's boy. When
Yeah.
my brother didn't leave my mom's side.
Mm.
No, my brother's a, I have, grief is, yeah, it's been in the family for a while.
Mm. Now, mental health work requires deep self-awareness and emotional courage. Why psychiatry specifically, and how did your own live experience influence that choice, especially going to your mental health nurse practitioner? And congratulations for accomplishing your master's degree with it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mm.
I wanted to understand myself
Mm.
because I thought I was weird. I was
Mm.
weird that I overthink. I have a habit of overthinking. I always think about what other people feel.
Mm.
Why do they react that way? What causes them to do those things? Snap was one thing that amazed me. You know how all those bottled up emotions and then one day they're the nicest person and then just one day nobody knows why. It intrigued me. So then I started studying people. I started analyzing, okay, this is this person's. I had that always in me since I was a kid. I
Mm.
guess I was hypersensitive because I ran away. So I had to understand people. Does this have a good intention? Am I going to be safe if I become friends with this person? Is this going to bring me down a bad route? I had to be hyper alert of everything that was going on around me. And I thought I was some kind of a special
Mm.
because, but then when I studied psych, it's actually part of trauma that you become so aware of everything that everything like, uh, everything is on emphasis. But then I was highly very sensitive to other people and their intentions. Like I know which ones to trust and which ones not to. And psych kind of helped me understand that there's not, okay, I'm not bipolar. I don't imagine things like that. I
Mhm.
don't have that. It's just that I like studying people. I enjoy learning. Because everybody has different perspectives on things. Your perspective may not be the same as another person's perspective, but when you understand theirs, oo nga, may point siya. That's what amazes me about psych. And the other thing is, me personally, I had to find ways to help me cope with my depression,
Mm.
anxiety, all those things without medication first.
Mm.
Kasi I'm not a fan of medication. Although our job and there are certain people that need medication,
Mm.
I see it now. Before I was like, why?
Mm.
No, some people really need it. But for me personally, medication is a band-aid.
Mhm.
The real work begins when you start therapy. cognitive behavior, interpersonal therapy, all those things are needed along with the medication. Because the medication will mask the symptoms, it will lessen it. But the coping mechanisms and understanding the triggers are what actually make you able to function properly.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was that's what made me study psych more. Because I wanted to understand myself more. I wanted to learn the coping mechanisms. And if I can share it with other people and help them, then why not? The same
Yeah.
way with me nursing, I love caring for my dad. I like taking care of people. I like entertaining people, but then it's the lower sense. Although sometimes I do end up singing every now and then in the floor.
Mm.
And the patients who I remember one time my patient says, "Okay, sing to me until I'm here." Yeah. And I said, "Sure."
Yeah.
It's part of me. That's how Lakambini start. But
Yeah.
psych to me is more of understanding myself, and from what I've learned and from what I practice on how to improve myself. That's why now I want to share it with other people.
Mm.
That's why psych.
And that's very powerful message that you have something to bring in the table, that you have experienced different aspects or chapters of your life, and you're able to at least inspire them that, hurting yourself, hurting others is not a way to cope with any depression or anxiety, right? When we feel
No.
that there's no easy way out, we really need to make sure to go back and ground ourselves with our feelings, and always make sure that ask for help. Therapy is there for stay.
Yes. Even with my patients on dialysis, no? Because dialysis is like a lifelong thing. When they lose hope, one thing that I've actually tell them, what would make you want to still keep going? That certain question. Sometimes they have grandchildren that they need to still take care of. Use that. It's finding that one small thing. Faith for faith for me was one through everything I've been through. Kasi pagka pinatay mo sarili mo, hindi ka mapupunta sa langit, mapupunta ka sa impyerno. Ayoko mapunta
Mhm.
sa impyerno. That way of thinking, no? Ang
Mhm.
babaw,
Yeah.
no? But in general, there's always that one thing in life that you love that would make you still want to live. Whether it's something that you want to do or somebody that you care about, just find something there. Because sabi ko sa'yo, self-pity, guilt, those are main causes for suicide. For wanting to, do something bad or for you to harm a person. There's also a way of when you are overwhelmed with emotions, take a pause. Pause and breathe.
Mm.
When you breathe and you pause, even with speaking, when you want to say something bad, when you take that minute to pause, that little small pause would actually change something. Because you'll stop and you'll breathe, you
Mhm.
get a little bit calmer during that moment. So in any instance na parang you're trying to do something or you pause and then breathe. And then all of a sudden, may kakalma ka rin.
Yeah.
It's something na parang you need to practice. If you're overwhelmed with emotions, stop ka muna. Stop. Teka lang. Kasi minsan kasalanan natin, we get so overwhelmed with emotions. We keep
Mhm.
talking, and then and then we just say things. We don't mean them. But the problem is you can't take it back once you said it.
Yes.
And once you make an action and it's the wrong move, that small instant that you didn't pause can change your whole life. Lalo na if it's something bad, you just need that 1 minute to just stop, pause, and breathe.
Mhm.
Wag yung bara-bara na, sige, sige. Kasi coming from someone that had a very active, certain, very emotional artista eh. So we gather emotions and feelings and we yell and
Mhm.
we're very expressive because I was taught at a young age to be very expressive. The problem with that is that you don't filter, nakakasakit ka rin. I think, and during the time that I did my self-reflection, I was finally seeing, and that's where all my coping mechanisms came in. And then I started studying. So this is how I learned.
It's great. And those experiences have shaped you and mold you into a better version of yourself.
And
Thank
I've
you for
been,
sharing that.
yeah, and that's how I've been trying to explain to like my family members and stuff like that. Take that 1 minute and pause. If you're mad at your wife, don't say anything. Don't do it. If you're mad at it, don't do it. Just pause.
Pause. Correct. Time out. Go to
Di ba, i-time out mo muna sa mo. Time out.
yeah.
Ganon.
Correct. Because when we're mad, we say things na later on, i-regret mo eh. Parang hindi mo na
You
siya mababawi pa.
know,
Yeah.
and coming from somebody that has a lot of things na parang I cannot change anymore.
Mhm.
You know, you learn and then you grow. But then at the same time, it's acceptance. For the things that you cannot change, that are already there and it has already happened, you have no choice but to accept it.
True.
These are things that I've learned through studying psych and through self-improvement.
Thank you, Ms. Kim. And those are tips that are very pertinent for our kababayans out there. Now, before we continue, I want to honor something very tender to you. I know you recently lost your mother. Are you comfortable talking about her today? And so, how would you
Yeah,
like her to be remembered in this space?
you know, at first I didn't know how to cope with my mom. Maldita rin ako. We all have those little things. So I made my own little boo-boo where I drove one person very, very crazy because makulit talaga ako. And it was more of an acting out, you know? And it was brought to me na parang, hoy, mayos ka. You need to deal with your mom's, stop. You need to deal with the issue with your mom. That's how I'm human. See, this is the things that I learned from. This is where, ito yung mga pause ko muna. I couldn't cope, so I had like, I wanted to do something bad and I don't drink, I don't smoke, so kinulit ko yung isang friend ko na sobrang kinulit ko siya ng kinulit na parang siya yung narindi. Alam mo yung ganon? Na parang sabi niya, boy, kasi sa inaabala mo yung sarili mo sa ayusin mo muna yung sa mama mo. It was hard at first. Your mom is your mom. Ibang mommy. Daddy's girl ako. Pero mommy is mommy. But then, it's sad that when you lose the person, you start looking at things differently. My mom gave up a lot for us. I was talking to my siblings and self-reflection and, always having family members close by to talk about certain things, especially when it comes to grief, is needed. My mom lost her family because my dad's Filipino, she's white, and kind of conflict, They had their little issues that parang my mom turned her back on her family for us. And then even though my mom was, struggling a little, she dedicated her life to us. Whatever little she had, she gave to us. She moved to the Philippines for me because I wanted to do acting. I wanted to be there, And then she came back here, and then my dad and her got a divorce. At first when we were younger, she didn't want to get a divorce because she said, I asked that question one day. I said, Mommy, why didn't you do it when we were small? Because there's 5 of you. How am I going to support all 5 of you? Si daddy ang breadwinner. So I said, and then I understood, and I was like, wow, my mom's resilient. She lost 2 kids before her. One at the age of 37. He was diabetic. He went into a diabetic coma. The other one was 45, and she lost her granddaughter, COVID. Then, of course, my dad, my brother first, my dad, and then my brother and my niece, COVID. And she was still, parang, my mom never complained. Hindi siya yung kung ano lang ang binigay sa kanya, masaya na siya. Ang tanging ano lang niya is yarn. Yung mahilig siya mag-ganchilyo. She likes doing like yung mga kumot, crochet na kumot. Yeah, she knits, she crochets. She's very artistic, my mom. My dad is the singing and the dancing, of course, the Filipinos, no? The dramatic is the daddy, but the artsy side is my mommy, no? And then, and I was looking at it and I said, my mom was always grateful for whatever little she had. And she was happy. Bas makita niya kami masaya-masaya na siya. So sabi ko, these are things that I should also do. Kasi, it's the simple things of life that made her happy, which amazed me. Masaya na siya. And then, the thing that kept her going was my nephew, yung anak ng ate ko, na siya talaga nag-alaga. Ginigising niya sa umaga, sinisigurado niya na mapunta sa bus, small things like that. Sobrang happy na niya. Tapos mag-thank you lang sa kanya apo niya na, yung apo niya uwi ng bahay, Grandma, this happened in school, this happened like, masaya na siya noon. Tapos yung kakain lang kami sa labas paminsan-minsan, and I was like, my mom, she hindi nagme-makeup, she wasn't into expensive things. She was okay with simple things. Sabi niya, save the money. Sinasabi niya sa amin, mga kapatid ko, huwag na kayong gumastos ng masyado. Mag-ipon kayo. I guess because she didn't have that much too. So parang it was important for her to have her kids okay. So, yeah. She was something. And, hindi mataktak ang nanay ko. My mom allowed us to make our own mistakes. She never, hindi siya yung, wag mo gawin yan. She says, I will tell you this, but it's up to you what you do, because I know you won't listen to me. To her, she wanted us to grow and be our own selves. Naglayas ako kasi hindi ko matanggap maghiwalay sila ng daddy ko eh. Ayoko mamili. But it wasn't because they were bad parents. No. It was because I didn't want to be put in the position to choose between. You know how America is.
Yeah.
Who do you choose, your mom or your dad? I didn't want to do that. That's why I ran away. I didn't want them to get divorced in, typical child, selfish way. That's why I ran away. And I was like, I don't want to go to America. What am I going to, and then, syempre, at least na ako sa Pilipinas, I was enjoying it already. Yeah. And then, losing her, I don't know. I think I'm still in denial. The grief stages. Yeah. You don't realize what you lose until you really lose it. It's touché. Pero ang hirap eh. Kasi the constant, just knowing your mom is there. Yung parang, Mommy, I had a bad day, blah, 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 blah. Alam mo yung ganon? And just knowing that she's there. She's a person of few words. But when she tells you something, you need to listen. Ganon siya. Yung laging malalim ang ibig sabihin niya when she magpangaral siya. May ganon siyang sense na parang hindi siya talkative. My mom, she won't nag. She'll seldom talk. But when she starts talking, wow. Alam mo yung ganon, yung pangaral niya na, yeah, I need to listen. I need to get my stuff together. Something, may ganon ang mami ko. Okay, pag sinabi niya, huwag kang pupunta dyan. Huwag kang pupunta dun. Kasi may mangyayari dun. Ano yung nanay, yung kutob niyang, the motherly feeling, they know something bad's gonna happen if you go to a place. My mom has that. I listen though. When mommy says that, I listen. Kasi I know, proven siya in certain instances kasi ako pinakamatigas ang ulo eh. So when I don't listen to mommy and the things happen and she just, I told you. Yung ganun ba ng mommy? Yung may ganun yung mga anak, you always have those little clashes with your parents. But And then I learned later on that, yeah, if mommy says something, you better listen, Kim. Pag matigas ang ulo dyan.
Yeah, I think some of the values you have got from your mom and also from your dad. And for those experiencing heartbreak, identity loss, or grief right now, what is the most important truth you've learned, not from textbooks, but from living through it?
Acceptance. It's the first process. Accept the fact na hindi para sa'yo yung taong yun. Change your perspective and think there's a reason behind it. Maybe you're meant to meet somebody better. Until you're whole within yourself at mahal mo ang sarili mo, yun ang kailangan mo para kasi sometimes what happens is people are looking for a partner because they want to fulfill something within them that's missing. When you do that, you put pressure on the person that you're dating. Kunyari may missing sa'yo, kulang ka ng finances, maghahanap ka ng mayaman. Feeling mo magiging masaya ka pag napangasawa mo mayaman, pero babaero. May to say yan. You know what I'm saying? Pero pagka-whole ka sa sarili mo, you're financially stable, you're okay with yourself, you're whole, you know your flaws, you know your limitations, you're okay with it, na-accept mo na lahat, and then you get into a relationship, it's okay. If the person alongside there, I know I once said na pag mahal ka ng tao, they would change for you, right? It's not because you said for them to change. Magkaiba yun. Hindi yung puputaktehan mo ang isang tao, iisip yung magbabago siya, kakaputakte mo. No. They won't change. They change because they want to reach the level that you're at. I love this girl so much that she makes me want to be a better man. That's what I mean. I love this woman so much because she makes me happy. She makes me feel different. There's those kind of things that people feel that it's unexplainable, but it happens. And then in according to yourself, self-reflection, find out what's going on within yourself, what's causing you to feel that way. Ask those questions. Bakit nga ba ganito? Bakit ganito nararamdaman ko? Anong pwede kong gawin para mabago to? Sige, kailangan ko ayusin sarili ko. Kailangan ko mag-ayos ng konti. Magpagupit kaya ako. Anything, small things. Kahit magpagupit ka lang at feeling mo ang ganda-ganda na ng gupit mo, boost ng moral yun. Your appearance also helps with your self-worth. As sad as it is. I'm not saying you need to go to the plastic surgeon and have yourself, No, it's about you enhancing what you have. O ano man ang binigay sa'yo ni Lord. Kasi yung features mo is what it is. But what matters, what's also in the heart. Kasi kung maganda ka nga, perfect ang mukha mo, masama naman ang puso mo, hindi rin maganda, di ba?
Right.
So it's your heart and then enhancing what you have. And accepting that sometimes things are not meant to be. Don't force it. Hindi lahat ng gusto mo, dapat yun ay para sa'yo. Minsan may ibang mga bagay na hindi binigay sa'yo ni Lord. Hindi dahil sa unworthy ka, kung hindi dahil meron siyang mas maganda para sa'yo. Kung marunong ka magtiwala. It all comes with faith. And when God does give you something like that, the next step is share. Share your blessings. Share your knowledge. Share what made you different. How did it work out? Or share your story. Because everybody has a story. Iba-ibang story natin. Pero ang maganda dun is you share it with other people so you can give them the confidence. Or you can let them also see, oh shoot, there's hope. May pag-asa pa ako. Those little things are what's gonna make you different. Is what you do with what you learn. And aside from that, is what you do with your life. God gave us a gift. It's life. That's why it's called every day is a present, di ba? It's a gift.
Yeah.
It's a gift na bigay sa'yo ni Lord. Alagaan mo siya para pagdating ng panahon, the time that comes that you face Him, He said, Lord, thank you. I lived a good life. I hope I made you proud. Kaya sabi ko, weird ako mag-isip eh. Sabi ko, when I think, at first I was thinking to myself, I said, there's nothing wrong with me that I'm thinking about things like this na parang pagka mawala ka, ano sasabihin mo kay Lord? Kaya sabi ko, inaral ko talaga ang psych. But then after, it's just part of who you are. It's accepting who you are. It doesn't make you a bad person. People may find you weird, but you're you. Everybody has their own little quirks.
Thank you, Miss Kim, for that. And I've read somewhere nabasa ko to that heartbreak can become a portal not to who you were before, but to a more self-anchored, embodied, and internally witnessed self. And your story that you shared with such honesty is very important. Your journey speaks not just about reinvention, but about healing, embodiment, and the courage to be fully human.
Okay,
Finally, looking ahead, what's on the horizon for you? Where can people follow your journey, learn from your work, and continue to support you as you thrive, especially the Lakambini?
well, Lakambini so far, actually, I like being with my girls. It's my outlet.
Yeah.
You know, psych is very full of pressure. You're dealing with a lot of people's issues. And sometimes, it can be draining.
Mhm.
Taking care of people can be draining. So this is where work-life balance comes in hand. Your job doesn't make you who you are. It's not the whole basis of your whole, oh, I'm professional. I always have to be. You need to have fun too. Clean
Yeah.
fun. Let me clarify again. Clean fun. I'm
Yes.
not saying go outside and get drunk and then do all the things that you know. No, it's about you finding balance of doing something you love to do, regardless of your age. So that's what the Kambini is. We are all professional women. We're not the most perfect. There are a whole lot of other women that are perfect at singing and dancing than us. But we have fun doing it together. So it's basically of females that got together to have an outlet. We all love singing and dancing. We're all in our 40s, you know, and we just want to have fun. So finding something that has meaning to you, regardless of what it is, whatever creative or whatever makes you happy, and finding a group of people that have the same interest is actually good for your health. It's good for your mental health because the dopamine and the adrenaline that comes along with it, those are good things. You need that in life. So hopefully we'll have like certain events. Gusto ko kasi events, I just don't want to be singing and dancing with I want people to experience new things too.
Mhm.
So that's what our group is trying. So let's see. It's a bunch of women that want to do events where women like us or people that are stressed from work need that one night to just hang out and have clean fun. That's what we're trying to promote here. Clean fun with friends. Of course, one way to release stress in America. And if they can do it with us, then come hang out with us and see I have some fun. Aside from that, of course, I have my um Facebook and Instagram. So if they are curious, but I don't have any like podcasts or anything like that. And in regards to the Philippines, next year I might go home again. I just want to try and practice for now. I was going home. I went home this year and I was going to see if I was going to go back. Kaya lang so far, wala pa naman. So sabi ko, I don't want to stay stagnant. I like growing as a person. So now I'm focusing on my PMHMP. So there. So bakasyon lang next year. But then in between, you need to have an outlet and have fun and enjoy yourself. Find something that makes you happy. Life is short. Actually, yeah, it's short. But we live every day and we die once. Dati baliktad ako mag-isip. I used to think that we only die once. Totoo, we die once. But you live every day. So every day you have a chance of making a difference and doing something fun and experiencing new things.
Thank you,
So
Ms. Kim, for sharing that. And we're so excited for your projects. I know you're also involved with nonprofit organizations. Like you went
yes,
back home, I think Lawag or Ilocos that you did lesson
yes.
medical mission. So that's
Mhm.
very important. Probably I could collab with you and with those upcoming projects. But I'm so excited for you, your growth, somebody can relate and hear this podcast, that there's really our situations are just temporary. We can evolve and learn from it as we go. And
Exactly.
you are one proof that we can really evolve as a person, and also rechannel our pain into creating to more productive
Positive.
situations in our life, and we can change in an instant if we do that.
Mhm.
And I know that you're gonna be busy for the holidays, so thank you so much for allowing me to interview today. And for all our listeners, once again, this is Miss Kim Delos Santos, a woman of power and a woman of encouragement and a woman of independence. So I wish you all the best, love, healing. Hopefully you find somebody that will resonate your vision and vision, but all the best for you.
Thank
And we'll see
you.
each
Thank
other.
you.
Salamat po. I really enjoyed this
Thank you.
conversation.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Mindful Moments with Pedro Morante. Be sure to follow the podcast so you'll never miss an episode. If you find value in our time together, leave a quick review. It helps more people discover the space we're creating. For updates and more reflections, follow us on social media. Until next time, take care.